Cassidy, thanks so much for joining me on this episode of Athletes Unplugged. We are in the countdown to the first season of Athletes Unlimited Volleyball. Tell me how you're feeling. Are you so excited?
I'm really excited. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I'm excited to be here and really excited for volleyball to start. It's just, for our sport, such a huge thing, and for all of us who have played professionally but have never had an opportunity to play within the U.S., it's just amazing for us.
It's funny that you mentioned that, playing in the U.S. I saw in an interview you've done before, someone asked you, what's your favorite volleyball venue to play in? And you answered, anywhere in the United States. Why is that?
We just don't get to play here very often. So, once I graduated college, I went on to play for the national team and played professionally overseas. And, in that entire 5 years that I played, I think we played one tournament in the U.S. of, official matches.
Wow.
And so almost all of the competitions I've played in since graduating college have been in other countries. And that's great. And it's exciting to go play in other places, but, to be on U.S. soil and just to like eat the foods you're used to and be able to speak to your teammates and all of those things are things that you don't think about until you don't get to do them anymore.
You've played in quite a few different countries, and like you mentioned, the language barrier can sometimes be an issue. Have you ever been in any situations where you're trying to communicate to a teammate or a coach, and that miscommunication has just ended up in something really funny, whether you trying to say a language that you're not used to speaking or them?
Yeah, I mean, mostly it just ends up with none of us getting all of the information. My first season in Poland, no, like if they say no in Polish, it means yeah. It's like the slang for yes. And that can be very confusing as somebody who speaks English, because out on the court, we'd speak kind of a combination, but mostly Polish. And so I'd ask them a question, like, do you want that ball higher, in Polish? And they go, no. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought it could be a little higher or whatever. And then 5 seconds later, I'd be like, wait, is that a Polish no or an English no? I don't, and then I have to think about it. Okay, I think it was Polish. Okay, yes, it should be higher. It's like, okay. Now they're just extra calculations going on.
So obviously there are some terms in American volleyball that are a little outdated. So I want to know, would you rather have to call kills a spike for the rest of your life, or would you rather have to call tips a dink for the rest of your life?
Ooh, I use the word spike like facetiously a lot. Like, let's spike balls. So it's hard though. I guess that one. I would rather use spike.
I've got some fans questions for you. 2 questions coming in from John Sellers. He wants to know, if there was one rule in volleyball that you could change, would you change any of the rules?
At the younger levels, I would change the sub rule. There's so many substitutions in youth volleyball. And I get that we want to let everybody play, but I think we've gone a little bit overboard, to the point where people can only do one thing. So the specialization that it's causing, I think, is not the best. And then if I could choose another one, I would change the ball at the younger levels to the international ball, because it's such a huge transition when you go internationally, that it's really hard for our players to adjust sometimes.
Last question we have coming in for you is, they want to know, did you ever consider playing beach volleyball professionally? You were so versatile indoor. Did that ever cross your mind?
I get this a lot, and I have friends who play beach who are like, Cass, you should probably come out here, because my game would transfer, I think, really well. I maybe thought about it a little bit, but if I was gonna go do it, I'd want to go for it and try to go to the Olympics and the whole deal. And indoor volleyball was my first love, so that was the first thing I went to out of college, and I'm glad for that. And I did that for 5 years, and I would have had to basically commit to at least 4 years on the beach if I was going to try for an Olympics, and I just wasn't willing to do it at that point in my life. So I thought about it a little bit, but decided against it. But I still play for fun sometimes.
Like you said, this American audience doesn't get a lot of chances to watch professional indoor volleyball. So, and some of our fans are coming over from just watching the softball season. So what should people expect watching all of these pro volleyball players coming in from all over the world to compete with AU this season?
I mean, what I think is really cool about volleyball is just this sort of combination of strength and grace, right? Like it requires so much coordination, not only as an individual athlete, but as a team. You know, you have to be able to move around each other really efficiently because it's 6 people on a fairly small court and that ball is moving very fast. But you're also going to see some high flyers and some big arms and some people bouncing some balls, which I think is always exciting. And my favorite part is always, the great defensive moves as people flying around the court and digging a ball. But I think there's going to be a lot of athleticism. There's going to be a wide range of, really experienced veteran players down to, people who are just coming out of college. And so I think it's going to be a good mix of that. And then we have some incredible foreigners coming in. And so to me, watching international volleyball and at the professional level, it's always fun to see kind of people from different countries and how their game has evolved in different ways based on where they came from.
So obviously, most volleyball players are taller than your average Joe, men and women. So do you think you are taller than this celebrity? Do you think you are taller than Tom Cruise?
Yes.
By a big margin?
Yeah.
You would be right. He's about 5'7".
Yeah. He's a little guy.
Thank you so much for joining me, Cassidy. We can't wait to see you in action in just a few months with Athletes Unlimited Volleyball.
Thank you. I'm excited.